Super Bowl parade. We had unfortunate circumstances today. Some people get hurt under some gunfire, which was not good. Hoping everyone's safe and hoping everyone's doing okay out there. So tonight with this live stream, I thought I would have a discussion about my 6 pillars of pitching, which we'll get into it a little deeper detail as we watch the guys proceed through their warm-up protocols. Again, thanks for joining today. Thanks for viewing. Appreciate the support, and look forward to hearing from you today on the comments as we get a little deeper into the content. Appreciate the hitting the like button as well. Thank you very much. Let me know you're here in the comments or in the live stream of the chat. So, in regards to the first pillar of pitching, and I asked a question earlier today about to a friend of mine that works hard at pitching, and he said, what is the pillars? And he had rattled off a few things, but he got the first one right. And it's imperative to have the right mindset heading in to anything you do related to not just pitching, but life in general, and having the right idea behind how you want to approach what you want to accomplish for any given day, any given week, any given month or year. How far do you want to get, especially with pitching and what we're talking about today? Have you set goals for yourself? Have you set an idea or path forward for how you're going to get to where you want to get to with this game, and specifically with this trade as a pitcher? Hello, Larry. Good to see you. Yeah, it is Quinn. You're right. And goal setting, I think, is a lost art for a lot of youth athletes, a lot of high school athletes, and even a lot of college and professional athletes. It gets talked around or tossed around a lot, but a lot of players hold those goals inside themselves internally and not really execute those. For me, when I put things on paper, I have a tendency to own it, what I'm trying to accomplish, and it puts a little more accountability to it when I write something down. I actually own those words and convert them, and then you keep them in a ledger or a safe place. Colt, we are located in Kansas City, home of the Chiefs and of unfortunate circumstances. Hello, car lover. Appreciate you showing up today. Appreciate it. Eclipse 676, good to see you. 11-year-old, man, if he's throwing well, his mechanics are good, playing competitive is not necessary, but if he can handle it on a short-term basis, I don't think it's terrible to introduce it if he can handle the throw or the pitch. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's good to hear you guys too. I love interacting and engaging with you guys. And so anyways, going back to my comments on the 6 pillars of pitches, we're on the mindset piece. And again, we're talking about goal setting and where you want to get to and how to get there, and creating a roadmap with your goals. What does that look like? And that's kind of the hard part, like sitting down and actually putting a pen to paper is important. And then creating a plan for yourself. So first thing I like to look at is, what are my resources? What resources do I have in helping me accomplish with getting where I want to go with this? How fast should I be throwing at 13? So your age times 5. So 3 times 5, 15. 5 times 1 is 5. So if you're in that 70, right, 75 miles an hour would be about appropriate. Yeah, 13. 70 to 75 is probably playable at 13. Hope that helps you, Edward. Kyle, thanks for showing up. Didn't get your message on there. So, any rate, setting a roadmap for where you want to get to is going to be important, and then mapping out how do you get there. So, if your idea is to play college baseball, and the first thing is like, okay, well, what do you do best in the game? What do you have to offer the game as an athlete? Define that, and then from there build out your plan. So I want to be a baseball pitcher. Great. How hard are you working on your baseball pitching skills? How often? So I was talking to one of the kids I trained today, and I told him it takes 10,000 hours to be a professional athlete. That's how much work you need to put in, and he will be there. I have no doubts. But he has to put his 10,000 hours in, and he probably puts 3-4 hours a day in on being the best athlete he knows how to be at the moment. And so that's another thing, is how many hours are you putting into your training, putting into your process. Hey man, y'all trying to kill me or what? So if you guys are wondering what the heck we're working on right now, these are the Rawlings spin trainers, and they're fastball feedback givers and flight path on or for fastballs. Right? So what we're looking for on the spin trainer is arm side run with a little bit of ride to it. And for those of you who don't know what ride is a little bit of top flight to it. So Jonah threw one that would be actually absolutely garbage and into the ground. That's giving him feedback that he's either cutting the ball, he's not staying behind it well, he's doing something. Now, where Quinn came in and threw a very nice flight to his cup. I'm getting bombed on here. Anyways, yeah, he threw a nice flight to his throw there, so he's staying behind it well. But if you're getting glove side run to it, that's letting you know you're getting gyro spin on the throw, and you need to work on staying behind the pitch and then pulling down on the inside of the ball a little bit better to get arm side run. And that's what they're working on at the moment, is training their fastball release points and working more snap through the wrist. Going back to goal setting and creating a roadmap for where you want to get to as a baseball pitcher. So writing a roadmap, first is resources. For me, it's like people, places, and things that you have at your disposal that can help you become a better athlete to get you to where you want to go as a baseball pitcher, because that's what we're doing here. But it is applicable to anything athletic. The next piece is sitting down and go, okay, so I need to put more time into my training, okay? I need to put more time into my education about how this gets done. I need to put more time and effort into my strength training. I need to put more time and effort into actually learning how to throw appropriately, and finding the right coaches is going to be important for this. If you don't have that, then you've got to find other resources, right? So YouTube is a pretty good resource, and I think there's a lot of good information out there that is available to everyone that's seeking greater information, more information about how to be better, how to do something. What's the common burning feeling in the shoulder when throwing after a few? Probably, Matthew, I'm guessing without knowing how you throw a ball, but I'm guessing that you're pushing the ball instead of actually throwing the ball. That has to do a lot with elbow height and transaction of the throw, and extension through flexion of the throw and the release point. I know these are a lot of words that might not make sense to you, but ideally, if you could elevate your elbow height off the break line of your hands and then bring your forearm up higher when you throw to alleviate the pressure that you're putting into your lower lat and then probably your bicep tendon and some other components of your rotator cuff and your elbow. And I do have some videos out there that probably talk about this a little bit on what we would determine like pushing the ball or how to break to elevation better. And I would encourage you to go to the playlist category and start searching around under my content and finding the one on elevating your arm. I think that'll help you out a little bit there. Burning in the shoulder can be a lot of different things, so just be cautious, be careful, don't over volume your arm, and then learn some arm care and arm health protocols, which would be what you do before and then what you do after you throw is going to play a big part. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. So now that we have mindset covered on our topic, so mindset being number one on leading into the 6 pillars of pitching, I'm going to say about another minute or two on this, guys. And then, so the second pillar for me, and every pitching coach is going to be a little bit different, is mechanics. And how well do you move down the mound, and how much pressure are you putting on the body when you're trying to transact the throw? Is your kinetic chain stable when you're working on the pitch? Or when you're throwing your pitch, I guess I should say. If you're not familiar with the kinetic chain, I would invite you to just Google that, and that'll come up with a plethora of information behind what that means for you. So learning how to pitch a baseball appropriately is going to be very individualistic because every athlete moves and responds differently to the way they throw a ball. So there's not really one straight line approach to pitching mechanics. I like to build some similarities in things or commonalities. And if you're not familiar with my take on those, you can certainly go back and look at my education resource video on pitching mechanics. And there's some basic viewpoints on balance, direction, and timing. And then
just give me the spinner.
What are the core components to pitching a baseball and what you should be feeling or what you should be working on when you're first starting out or learning or trying to get better. So mechanics are going to be the driving force behind anything, and having a good, strong, solid foundation behind that. I'm going to move this camera before I get blistered.
It's fine.
Again, thank you guys for tuning in today for this live episode. Appreciate you guys, appreciate the support. Love seeing all the feedback and answering the questions as I go along through this conversation on today's topic, the 6 pillars of pitching. Again, if you can hit the like button for us, it helps build the algorithm and get us out there a little bit more into the world. So mechanics being the foundation layer of how we're going to execute. So there's a difference between pitching and throwing, right? So a lot of guys that we see nowadays, I would quantify as throwers. There's a lot of good starting pitching in the major leagues right now that I would quantify as pitchers. Pitching to me is being able to hit a specific location, and I'm leaking into some of the pillars right now, but being able to throw pitches to specific locations that you want in a sufficient manner, mechanically secure.
Any pitch, anytime, anywhere.
Any pitch, any count, any time. And that mentality behind it is what's going to get you moving along with it. So let me answer a question. How do I feel about athletes who play multiple sports? Does it help? Well, it's a great question. And for me as an athlete, growing up, I played everything I could get my hands onto. So I'm not saying I was the best athlete, but I was a good athlete, and I excelled at a lot of different sports during my time. And I played baseball, I played basketball, and I played football, and I played a lot of wiffle ball, and I played a lot of just different games and running and road bikes, and I did a lot of different things in team environments. And I think that culmination of working multiple body parts and seasonalities helps keep things safer in some regard, because you're training a lot of different body parts. Now with today's training behind sport specific pieces, I think you get a better foundation if you have the right trainer, if you have the right idea, roadmap behind what you're trying to accomplish and building yourself as an athlete. And so today's medicine, today's science behind sport specific, if you're training the body entirely in human movement, I think you're okay. But I like the idea of giving guys a break. There comes a point in time where you're going to pick a direction with your sport, but I don't think that needs to be at younger ages. I really do like the idea of encouraging people to play basketball or football or whatever it is that you're interested in trying out for. Injuries are going to happen, right? So we can't play anything within fear of injury, because it could happen at any point, any time. And so I would not go into it with the idea of, oh, I might get hurt playing football. Well, if you really want to play football and you enjoy that and you love playing with your friends, I think you should be able to have that ability. And I think there is a lot of benefit to playing with other kids, representing other teams, and taking a break from necessarily throwing a baseball, if that helps and makes sense. That's my take on it anyways. I don't really know if I have a good view for these guys on bullpen. Can I get 5 pitches of each pitch to start, working through target, and then from there I'd like to get back into our first pitch strike game today. And next week we'll go into 2-0 batters. So being your last week before tryouts. So we're working really hard on being very specific with our pitch and throwing a lot of strikes today. Thank you. I appreciate that, Steve. I love the support, and thank you for showing up. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to get a better view than Reed, so we could actually see something. Thank you, Reed. Whoa, what age groups are we looking at? These are high school freshmen, and I have one sophomore in the group. But you wouldn't know it by looking at him because he's super tall. You would think he's something else, but you know I love you, Reed. I'm just messing with you, yeah. So these are high school freshmen you're looking at. Does golf affect how you play baseball? I play those two, and I want to see if playing a lot of golf could affect me positively or negatively. I don't have a take on golf other than it's a rotational sport when you swing a club. I think the approach is going to be a little bit different. And let me see if I can get you guys a better view. But I think the approach to golf is some similarities, but also has some differences to it too. So then, like in terms of the way you swing a bat. And then which ways are we rotating, right? With the swing? and then rotate with the swing. But I think there's a lot of similarities in the hips. And if there's golfers out there watching right now, then let me know, because I'm not sure. But I think there's similarities. I don't know that it's going to hurt you. If you're a good athlete, you're a good athlete, and you can do whatever makes you happy. So I'm not opposed to it. I think it's fine, as long as you feel like you're doing well in both sports. If you feel like something's happening negatively, then learn from that feedback and make some adjustments. So moving on with 6 pillars, I think we are on. So we had mindset, we had mechanics. My third pillar of pitching is going to be movement. So what is the life on your pitch? What does the shape of your pitch look like? It doesn't have to be fastball specific. It could be any pitch that you're working on throwing. How well is it moving, and then how well is it perceived by the batter? And if you're not sure what perception is, there's two different types of velocities, and one is actual velocity and one is perceptual velocity. The perceived velocity of any pitch is what's going to be the disruption or the disrupting timer of the batter, and does the pitch come out of the same window as you're throwing it? So if your fastball comes out of the same window and has movement, and earlier in the segment we saw the guys working on their fastball grips with the spin trainer, and we were working on movement with the spin trainer and then creating more life to their fastballs. And so on the third pillar, movement, how much movement you have on any given pitch, and does that pitch work for you, is going to be an important pillar of your pitching repertoire as we're moving forward. Is a freshman grade 9, and you mentioned tryouts. Are tryouts over? So in Kansas City, where we're at, tryouts will start the last week of February, so they'll have one more week of training, and then they'll be moving on to their tryout for their respective schools here. And yes, 9th grade is a freshman. So pillar number 4. So we went through mindset, we went through goal setting, and then we went through mechanics, and then we went through movement on the pitch. And our 4th pillar is going to be velocity. And velocity is an issue if you don't have it, right? So here's the way I look at velocity with things. It doesn't ideally make you a better pitcher or not, because when I talked about pitching earlier, it was about being able to throw any pitch, any count, any time, regardless of the velocity. Because if you're changing speeds and you're able to change speeds well and disrupt timing of hitters and runners, you're doing your job as a pitcher, and you're going to run into success. And ultimately, that's what we're after, pitching success. So working on the velocity piece. Have a good night, Anthony. Working on velocity. So I'm going to talk to you guys about what I think how velocity comes out of any given individual. So have a good night, Stephen. Velocity, I'm going to start with, is genetics. How tall you are, how much you weigh, how much freedom of movement and range of motion you have. All of these, how long your operating levers are in your body, how fluid is your arm action, how strong is your leg. So that's another piece. So genetics, then I move into strength. How strong are you as a pitcher? Your weight matters to a certain degree. And then also your mobility. So mobility is a term that gets tossed around a lot, but not really discussed on what does that actually mean. Your mobility is the amount of load or force that you can put on any given joint in the body, and the range that you can hold that load or that amount of strength on, and so your flexibility and your strength equals the level of mobility in the given joint. And so working on your strength and flexibility in commonality would essentially create you mostly ideal in your strength positioning as a pitcher or as an athlete specific. Hi Chris, how are you today, buddy? Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you always. So velocity being our fourth pillar. I forgot what pillar we're on. We're on fifth pillar. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. So fifth pillar, and we went through mindset, we went through mechanics, we went through movement, we went through accuracy, right? We went through velocity, we didn't hit accuracy. So accuracy being number 5, so we're on 4, we're on 5 now. Accuracy, how accurate are you with your pitch? Do you have the ability to locate your fastball into a specific area, starting with 17 inches down at the base and working, always work from the middle out. So like the middle of the plate, then you have the thirds of the plate, and then you have the corners of the plate. And I feel like if you can start with the thirds of the plate and then work your way to the corners of the plate will help a lot in terms of your accuracy and not getting too hung up on being super specific with your pitch, especially when you're learning how to pitch out the gates. Yeah, we do live batter stuff right now. These guys are working on themselves specifically and what they're trying to accomplish on the mound. So it's not really an ideal time for them because this is a training session. This isn't a live hitting session. They'll get live hitting sessions later on. So moving on to accuracy, or talking through accuracy, is being able to throw a pitch where you want to throw it. So now we're on our fifth pillar, right, Dennis? I think our fifth pillar. Are we on sixth pillar already? Holy cow. Okay, sixth pillar, and we're about a half hour in. So sixth pillar is pitchability for me, and if you don't know what pitchability is, it is the ability to throw multiple pitches to a very specific location. So it's one thing to be able to throw or have command over one pitch, and then do you have command or control over 3 or 4 pitches will be a separator, right? Will be a game changer for you. And can I throw my curveball in the same location with the same arm slot and the same mechanics as I do my fastball is pitchability. And the same thing with your changeups, your sinkers, or whatever else that you, whatever other slider, whatever other pitch you're working on is pitchability, right? How often do you guys have these training sessions? Yeah, good question. So when I wrote this program in 2017, they have one very specific training session with me personally, but they have a shoot ton of work to get done during the week. And so it's really an everyday plan for pitchers. So some of these guys are up here 5 or 6 days a week working on their pitching. It's not necessarily pitching a baseball, but it's what is the workload. So it's strength building, it's working on mechanical components, it's working on their mobility and flexibility, or it's working on pitch design, or it's working on long toss, or it's throwing volumes. So there's a lot of different things that work into the plan that I have for these guys, and I've written several years ago, and I keep developing and growing that plan. So to answer your question, they're up here with me at least 1 day a week. Most of them are up here a lot more than that. Yeah, number 11, you have good mechanics. Quinn, you're a beast. Yeah, we love Quinn here at Arm Pitching Development. The dude works his butt off, and he's super accurate too. And yes, his mechanics are pretty clean. I have some issues with his scapular load points. I feel like gets a little pushy with his throw sometimes. But he's working on that, and that's a range of mobility, a range of motion that he's still developing with. If you watch that pitch, it's more of a push pitch than it is a thrown pitch. So he's still developing, but yeah, he does a good mechanics. People on the baseball team throw at high as mid 76 for these faster pitchers. One is a senior, but I can and say I throw 75. Congratulations, Chris. Oh boy, keep working, keep growing, keep learning. Yes, there is a lot faster. And again, the question was asked about how fast should you be throwing for your age, and my short answer is your age multiplied by 5 is how hard you should be throwing at your age if you want to be in the upper end of it. And I do have a chart. Let me see if I can show you guys the chart real quick, and this will give you an idea. So I wrote this chart in, I don't know, a couple years ago. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has an age, and then it goes by velocity by age, and then it's how hard you should be throwing with it. And it's like average velocity, below average velocity, above average, and then elite, right? And then I also encompass that with how much spin should be on the pitch by age as well, which may be a little more detailed than some want, but it gives you an idea of where your range might be. And again, if you're a younger person, you don't need to get hung up on velocity necessarily. Although I will say this, that if you want to get somewhere in the game at a higher level, that velocity is your selling tool, because your pitching ability will have a shelf life if you're stuck at 75 miles an hour. Okay, you know, I've seen college guys throw in the 70s and get away with it okay at lower end colleges. But if you really want to get somewhere with it at a higher end college, I mean, honestly, you're going to have to be in the 80s plus, and then if you want to get further on, you're going to be in 90s plus. So even a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right now is considered like the bottom of the rung as far as being in elite status. So something to consider, something to work on. Strength, flexibility equals mobility plus genetics and training in the right direction and eating the right things. Help you get there. So I think we covered the 6 pillars of pitching today. Yeah, 90's fast, but it's honestly not that fast. It's pretty common nowadays. Yeah. Oh, right on. Yeah, Chris, make sure you tag me on the Instagram thing, because I don't always look at social media too much. I'm just too busy training guys and doing stuff, so I don't always sit there and look at social media too often. But if you tag me, and maybe it'll throw me an alert so I know that I need to look at something, or I will look at something on there. So just add me on it. Yeah, I think, Bray, I think the average senior throwing about 85. I think that's average for a senior at this point, especially if they're doing things correctly. That's about right where they need to be. And I always thought at 18 you have a +5 in you, depending on where you're at in size and structure of your body. You have a +5. So if you're 85 as a senior, you're potentially looking at a 90-mile-an-hour arm. Again, looking at body compositions, going to me as a recruiter or recruiting athletes. Are they max effort? Are they free flowing with their arm? Some of these things matter in where they're going to end up or lie. But yeah, 85 is about right.
That's getting tanked with again though.
Yeah, I don't, Chris, you're just gonna have to figure out how to tag my name, like at my name on Instagram, and I think it just shows up on my feed or gives me an alert. Again, thank you for coming out today or showing up to the live stream as we covered the 6 pillars of pitching. If you're just now showing up, 6 pillars are mindset being number 1, mechanics being number 2, movement being number 3, velocity being number 4, accuracy being number 5, and pitchability being number 6. So if you're just missing that. And then going back through the live stream, you'll hear me, if you rewatch the live stream, you'll hear me talk through those points. Good pitch, Quinn. You'll hear me talk through those points if you're just now tuning in. Appreciate you and appreciate the support and you guys showing up and showing me love on this live stream tonight with arm pitching development as we go through these bullpens. Go Quinn. Kyle likes you, man. Good pitch, Quinn. Actually, yeah, that was pretty good, dude. So anyways, yeah, I think these guys are about to wind down another couple of minutes. I'll stay on for another few more minutes and answer any more questions and go from there. Yeah, again, appreciate the support and the love of everyone tuning into Arm Pitching Development tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button for me as it helps build the algorithm and shows YouTube that we are live and brings it out to more people to tune in. Jackson, work on yourself. Right? Yeah.
All 3 in a row.
My son needs to put on weight in order to get faster at 125 pounds. Pretty light, yes. You're making anything to add weight? Yes, I do. There's a weight gainer. Wait, what was the age again? How old was your son? Depending on the age. So, 14, thank you. Yeah, 14 is probably a good age to start putting in a little mass gainer. So if you can get a good mass gainer with protein in it, that'd be a great starting point. I'm not too worked up about overloading joints at 14-year-olds, so weightlifting is a factor, but not lifting super heavy outside of the boundaries of what they can handle, as growth plates are still open and can be impacted. So mass gainer. And you want to try to take in about 100% of body weight in grams of protein a day would be good start. And if you're really trying to bulk, then you want to double that up. But eating 145 grams of protein a day is going to be tough. You're talking about chicken breast is about 30 pounds of protein, or 30 grams of protein, not 30 pounds, sorry. 30 grams of protein and chicken breast, you got to eat that 5 times over to cover your body weight. So that's where the mass gainer and protein intake from a shake or some other ancillary source comes in. That's going to help you in gaining weight. Hope that answers your question. 5'11", 125, 72. Yeah, gaining weight, definitely. It's a good start. Calorie intake, 14, 125. Let's look at the active calorie list. We'll put that on the live stream tonight. Yeah. So let's go over to our active calorie list here. You can see 5'11 at 120. So you're looking at 3473 in active calorie intake. That's a daily intake, especially for somebody that's 14. So that's a lot of calories to take in. You think about how much a sandwich is. It's 800 calories in a sandwich. You got to eat that 3 or 4 times over in a meal, so you want your meal load to be pretty heavy. Definitely. Does a fast mile necessarily help with fast ball? So, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go on a limb and say there is a correlation with that. Speed helps. So if you think of pitching in terms of a 1-second sprint, and it's probably less than that as you're pushing the body. Let's just say it's a half a second sprint to throw a baseball. And if you would train the body inside of half a second sprints, and how fast can you move and how strong can you be as you're moving, would be super beneficial. So running faster, yeah, I do think it helps with your fastball if you break it down like that.
I'm just gonna do it one more time.
12 years old, hitting 95 with wood. Congratulations, you're a professional athlete. Get some beans. Hey, LMN, nice to see you show up. Yes, I do remember you. Thank you. I appreciate you on the live stream today. Appreciate the like button being smashed and all the support and love of the channel. We talked about the 5 pillars of pitching today as we wind down those mindset, mechanics, mentality, right? That's number 1. Mechanics, movement, accuracy, velocity, and pitchability. Again, go back through the live stream if you want to hear me cover those components or those pillars in detail a little bit further as we went through the pitching session tonight. Thank you. I appreciate the hearts. Love it.
I'm gonna have them come in.
Yeah, have them come on in. You guys can, Alex, go ahead. We're good. Yep. Come on in. And we talked about arm health and arm care earlier. And so they just got done throwing, and then we talked about, like, you want to talk about building velocity is like, what do you do after you throw is a big part of that. And these guys are about to head into their cool down and their recovery session. So not only do they throw or warm up and then throw and all that jazz, but they have a whole another workout to get done tonight after they throw, which will help them bounce back sooner from their throwing program, their throwing process. Yeah, probably should back off a leg day every day. I'd say leg day two times a week, 3 times a week. Hitting legs would be sufficient. Yep. Where did this go? I think he said Kansas. Kansas City is where we're at. Yep, home of the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. And unfortunate for me, I'm from San Francisco and I'm a 49er fan, so it was a miserable day for me. My condolences to myself. So yeah, still wondering. Wall taps with the black, correct? Yeah, Kansas City is where we're at, but you're going to see Jackson going through a waiter walk, which is putting a little pressure on the constriction on the loading the joint on the shoulders and the elbows. These are aftercare protocols that we go through. These are wall taps. As you can see, these are wall clocks with tapping, and just something we do to kind of relieve the pressure in the arm and kind of bring it back into a more relaxed state. We got Jackson's getting ready to do some upward toss.
You guys are scared. You guys please off the
Brock Purdy on top in MVP. Or Mr. Wait, sorry, I'm not reading it. Brock Purdy on top in my opinion. Maybe. So these are rebounders. And so what we're working about is force reception, working a shockwave back up through the arm and telling it to accept force, because as baseball pitchers, what we do is give force. And learning and training both parts in force reception and force execution is going to be important in training in a more holistic pattern or manner. Brock Purdy is stable. I would argue that Christian McCaffrey was probably a little better player this year than that. So that's my take on there, my 2 cents on it. So Nathaniel Maz asking, what should a 12-year-old be pitching on the mound? So that's a multifaceted question. Are you talking about what pillar of pitching? So velocity, are you talking about accuracy? You're talking about pitch type. Pitch types at 12, depending on body type and composition and how well they move. We could be talking about a 3-pitch load, so like a fastball, multiple fastball composition, and then a changeup would probably be good to learn, and then working on some sort of sinker, cutter, something like that along the way would be fine as well, as long as they're strong enough to handle the pitch and pitch well enough or mechanically. Velocity, 5 times age. So 12-year-old times 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 5 plus that, so 60 miles an hour would be a baseline at 12 years old. In terms of velocity, if you're above that, which a lot of guys at 12-year-old, because it's one of those weird growing ranges, you're looking at anywhere between 70s and 60s at 12, because just one of those weird puberty starting, and sometimes you see guys that are a foot taller than everyone else, and guys haven't caught up yet, so it's a weird range. Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the support. Appreciate you. So we're working on some reverse load throws. What we like to do is set a marker about, for every 1 pitch forward, we try to throw 1 pitch backwards. I'm not going to hit them that hard with this load point. They're doing 25 reverse throws backwards tonight. And if you're going to train forward, you might as well train backward to make sure that you're training everything. Good question, MGS. As a baseball pitcher still, I'm more of a distance runner, and that's just me because I feel good and I don't really like sprints. Now, when I train these guys, they are trained in sprints more than they are trained in distance. And so if you're focusing just specifically on pitching, I think sprints are a good thing to do, and then working on your build up through the sprint and how many sprints can you do, and then how far can you do them is going to be important. And so to answer your question, yes, please do sprints as a pitcher. Will make you better, faster, and stronger. These are band holds, putting tension and compression into the multiple different areas of the rotator cuff. And again, it's just to build pressure in, blood flow, create healing. So we're working on the healing process currently by creating more blood flow in the areas in which we use to throw the ball. Sprints more than lungs. I have terrible lungs. So when I'm running. Look, I mean, you got to work up into anything that you're doing, just like you would. You're not going to go in there and set the world record as a runner overnight. So you're gonna build up into your running, and same thing with your throwing pieces and everything else. All right, guys, I've been running for like almost an hour now, 50 minutes. So I got another training session coming on here. Appreciate all those that tuned in tonight and listening to the coverage of the 6 pillars of pitching. I hope you enjoyed the live stream, and I hope to see you guys back soon. Please reach out with any questions. Feel free to check out the video library I have on the channel for mechanics, pitching tips, drills, exercises, and workouts. And until I do the next live stream, which may not be till next week, we'll see you guys next time.